Look at this. Oscar Sevilla, who has been off the back, has decided the best method is to attack and see what happens. And he's got himself a gap.
Well, Sevilla is a great climber. We've seen him in the Vuelta a España in the past. Let's not forget this man was the white jersey, the best young rider in the Tour de France. The strategy here is to try and get himself a stage victory if he can. He's not been riding well over the previous climbs, but if he can cause the other riders to panic, this may well be good for him. But look at the way Oscar Pereiro is coming back. Pereiro has been the instigator of this move. He's done the majority of the work, and sorry, Oscar, you're not having a win quite that easily.
Well, that's going to hurt Oscar now, because Pereira has taken up the race here and has gone straight over the top of Oscar Sevilla. I'm not sure whether this was planned to be quite so early, but Oscar Pereiro has got himself a little bit of a lead. Bogart won't like it. Here comes Bogart. George is right behind him, Hincapie, and they've hooked up with Pereiro. Now there are three.
Now there are just three riders. Michael Bogart making the effort to get across to Pereira. Brochard there paying for all of his attacks. He's going to slip back to 6th place on the road. In front of him, Sevilla. In front of him, Cauchioli. Hincapie responded superbly there to ride across that gap. And if he can climb up this climb, Phil, the best he's ever climbed in his life, he could be looking at a brilliant victory. This is Basso launching the attack. He's got a gap now over Jan Ulrich. Armstrong is just staying there with Ulrich. Ulrich now, it's the attack from Armstrong. He's going across the gap.
Well, look at that. Basso slipped away off the front, and Armstrong, with that incredible sprint he possesses when somebody hits him hard, has crossed the gap.
He waited to see whether Jan Ulrich was going to respond, and once he saw that Ulrich didn't have that response, Ulrich couldn't go up to the wheel of Basso. He said, right, I'm going to go myself, and he has leapt across that gap again like a scalded cat. He's on the tail of Ivan Basso. These are the two champions of the Tour de France here this afternoon. Behind, everybody will have to ride in their own personal purgatory.
Well, Ivan Basso took his chance well there. He gave it 100%. He's looking around to see how he's getting on. He looked the wrong way, because the man he fears most is right underneath his armpit. And now Lance Armstrong has joined him. Basso would need 2 minutes 47 ahead of Lance Armstrong to get the yellow jersey. Of course, he does get a little time bonus. It might make it a little bit less than that, but it doesn't matter because Armstrong is with him. But Basso just now is going to be confirmed at least in 2nd place in the Tour tonight. Jan Ulrich has been forced to come on alone as well. Bit of a story of the Tour for poor old Jan. He's always alone.
He's going to have to ride for himself here, just try and get into a rhythm, because it's important for him. It's not really that much of a worry now, Phil, as to whether or not he's going to lose time on Armstrong and Basso. The important thing for him is to get time over Michael Rasmussen if he can, because Ulrich too could be moving up in the overall classification. Look at Armstrong's face. I don't really see Ivan Basso getting rid of him, and I must really think back to the Giro d'Italia. I must question the team's logic in taking him to the Giro d'Italia when he could be rivaling Armstrong here for the win.
Well, here we go, picking up riders from the breakaway. That's Heimar's Rebeldia in front of Jan Ulrich. As we now see here, riders collapsing one after another. But these two, now they're like they're in the Pyrenees. Side by side they come up. In fact, it'll be Isasi now that they're picking up, I think, here. Or Camano, perhaps. They were all up there originally. But look at that crowd on this climb of the Plat d'Aix. Somewhere down there is the Tour de France, and it is Camano. Ulrich has just passed, and Ulrich is going to get in amongst it now. These crowds have got to stay pretty orderly here, and we don't want the United States making a mess of it either by running in front of Jan Ulrich. Maybe he's just trying to clear the way. And even Vinokurov is trying to get back in the action here now. He's somewhere on the mountain. I'm not sure where he is anymore now as he tries to cut his way from right. Mancebo is trying to chase him down. We've just passed Jerome Pino. He's washed away. He was with the leading group. This is an incredible showdown now. Everybody is totally committed. Jan Ulrich is at 7 minutes 2 off the lead now. Well, Cauchioli is surprising. Maybe there's a little bit of a problem with the leaders as we get towards the summit. 6 kilometers to climb, just over 3.5 miles. I must say that looking at the face of Michael Bogart on the left there now, it's looking desperately tired. In fact, they all look desperately tired. And Hincapie is sat there waiting, I feel, because he's done no work. Unlike yesterday, he is not blown out here. He's not hit the wall. He got caught by this acceleration of Basso and by the expected acceleration of Armstrong. But he can climb steadily and keep his pace. Jan Ullrich could return to the side here. Remember that Ullrich could be racing into third place in the Tour tonight. Well, don't be surprised if George tries one of his own here, because he's so strong. He's taken a leaf out of Lance Armstrong's book and just sprinted across the gap. Pereiro might say to George, look, we've got to go. We've got the other two. Let's leave it and fight between ourselves.
This is a very strange climb. It's a horrible climb because there are moments when it's steep, there are moments when it's flat. It actually suits the pure climbers because they are the guys who can change their rhythm. But for Ullrich, who's the powerful climber, he can use his big gears on the flatter part of the course. The crowd is ballistic here. They are cheering on everybody. They are probably hoping that Oscar Pereiro is going to take the win. But if Hincapie takes the win, they shouldn't worry too much because he can speak Spanish too.
Well, look at that face now. He's very pained. He's shouting at Oscar Sevilla, I think, to just lift it a little bit. This is further up the road. Look at the determination here now of Lance Armstrong and the grimace of pain on Ivan Basso. The pressure now as Hincapie is waiting to see where it is. Oscar Pereiro responding to the crowd. He surely will have no answer, having led all of this way. Hincapie is going to make this a formality. Pereiro takes him wide. It's still a long way to go.
It is long and interminable, the 1,000 meters at the top of a mountain like this. There are 300 meters to go. Oscar Pereiro opens up the gap, but Hincapie's ready.
Hincapie goes at 200, and now there'll be no answer from Pereiro. This is going to be yet another memorable moment in the life of this American team. Lance Armstrong, when he can't win, why not send up George Hincapie to finish off a perfect day of tactical copybook reading? And George Hincapie, after 10 years in the Tour de France, finally gets a victory, and he cannot believe it. George Hincapie, Tour de France stage winner, Plat Day 2005.
After 10 years of trying, Oscar Pereiro crosses the line. 10 years of trying for George Hincapie, and he gets himself his first ever stage win. Phil, since 1999, all he's ever done is ride as a dedicated teammate to Lance Armstrong. Today, he's opened up the copybook for himself.
Well, there's the congratulations, but this is the man finishing in third place now, is Pietro Cauchioli. As he comes home as well, the clock is starting, 32 seconds has passed by. As you can imagine, the congratulations behind the scene. Cauchioli crosses the line at 38 seconds he lost in the close. And then Michael Bogart, who I think was really set up for the win as far as he was concerned, didn't quite come for him in the end. He couldn't answer the attack of Pereiro, and he was left. But still, fourth place to Michael Bogart. And what a day this was between these two riders. Ivan Basso deserves that place. 5 minutes and 4 seconds down.
Armstrong locked in there, but you know, Jan Ullrich now is in the safety of the barriers. He's coming up to the final, for the finish, and he too is looking to see what the time gap, Phil, is going to be between himself and Michael Rasmussen. But Armstrong consolidates his position at the top of the overall classification today.
Looking for an 8th place if he comes round. Sevilla, 5:45. What a happy day this is for the Team Discovery. And coming up behind Jan Ullrich in the distance, there he is Michael Rasmussen. If you deserve to keep your lead, then you do now, because he will conserve third place tonight in the Tour de France. That is a show of defiance, if there has been one.
Well, that's a show of defiance, Phil, by a man who said he came to the Tour de France with 2 objectives. The 2 objectives were to win a stage. He did that, and to win the King of the Mountains classification. He's well on his way to doing that. But by catching up with Jan Ullrich in the final 500 meters of this stage, he is actually going to keep himself right up there in third place overall at the end of the day.
What a ride, and here comes Rasmussen as well.
I went with the break to get a head start on the climb so I can help Lance on the later climbs. You know, I knew that if I got in a break and we got 10 minutes, I could do my own pace in the climbs, wait for Lance on the last 2 climbs, and then you know, pace him up the last climb. We ended up getting 18 minutes, and Johan and Dirk told me, George, listen, you're not coming back. You can do your own race. And then from then on, you know, I just started thinking about the victory, and for it to work out the way it did is just a dream come true.
It's meaningful that George won because he was also a teammate of Fabio's. He was
He was on that Motorola team in 1995. He was the guy that we didn't take to the Tour de France in '95. Instead, we took Fabio Casartelli. So it's a small world, and I think it means a lot to George as well.
Unbelievable, mate. I just got in the break at the start. I was, told to look after myself because, the type of the stage it was, but no, it was unbelievable riding up those hills, mate. Watching those guys come past me on the last climb was just nice just to be there.
It's the first time since 1999 that one of Lance Armstrong's teammates has won an individual stage at the Tour de France, so a little bit of history for George Hincapie. He conquers the stage from Oscar Pereiro. Pietro Cacchioli finished 38 seconds behind. Michael Bogert, Laurent Brochard finished in the top 5, with Ivan Basso squeezing home in front of Lance Armstrong. Cadel Evans was 16th today. Alan Davis, what a ride from him, 20th. Michael Rasmussen has wrapped up the King of the Mountain classification. He now has an unbeatable lead over Oscar Pereiro, who moved into second, with Armstrong third. And Armstrong is well on course now of a 7th consecutive Tour win. 2 minutes 46 is the time gap on Ivan Basso, who moves to second overall. Rasmussen drops a place, while Jan Ullrich is 5 minutes and 58 seconds behind the Tour leader. Cadel Evans moves up a place to 11th, and he'll be aiming to improve on that time when the time trial comes around for stage 20. That wraps it up today. Stage 15, what a climb, what a stage in the Pyrenees. We've got a rest day tomorrow. We've still got a program at 6 o'clock, the highlights program. Hope you can join us for that. It's been a great day in the mountains. George Hincapie and Lance Armstrong, they reign supreme.